and booted David out. Got your boy, Big Rob, back in the house. Also co-hosted with Forrest here. So welcome to Sin City Crypto. If it's your first time checking us out, we're an entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel where we take that old, boring, and stale information and we repackage it up in a fun and sexy way. We got a packed show for you tonight. Not only do we have Big Rob, Forrest, but we also have today's special guest, Frankie Candles. He'll be joining us in about 15 minutes to go over the charts. And then also in today's news, we have a lot brewing. First of all, we're going to discuss Solana and also Cardano. The two have been flip-flopping on the market cap. So which one has the most potential for upside here in the near future? Also, Coinbase. We've got some interesting developments coming out of the Coinbase lawsuits as well. And then Chainlink. Is it the new best investment out there in the top 20 now? Not investment advice, but something to keep an eye out on. They are expanding their Ethereum compatibility. The EVM is straight off the chain now with Chainlink. Then also we're going to reflect on Gary Gensler. But without further ado, I do want to introduce you to our other co-host here. We got Forrest joining us, filling in for David today. I think we got you for the rest of the week as well. So, Forrest, glad to have you. How you doing, man?
A lot of topics I want to get into, but before we do, I do want to remind everybody to smash the like button. Look, whenever I open up a stream, this is usually I try to make it the first thing I do, but sometimes I forget, and I understand that sometimes people can forget, so that's why I'm here reminding you right now before we get started.
That is correct. I see that we got about 40 likes going on here, so a little low on the like button, but over 50% like ratio. Also, if you are new here, say hello so we can drop an hola back at you. And then just the visual cue there as well to smash that like button. So a couple things today. I do want to give a big shout out to our channel sponsor, Cam's Blue Wire Tech. And so if you're not familiar with Cam's Blue Wire Tech, well, they provide IT solutions and also they provide internet security as well. So if you're running a business and you would like to maximize your IT and cybersecurity, well, give Cam's Blue Wire Tech a call. We also have their website in the description of this video as well. Now, with the markets, we did have a significant pullback in Bitcoin. Well, at least I look at it as significant for the simple fact that we dipped under 30K. And so is 30K now resistance? Is this, we are on the other side of that big psychological number. So what does that mean? I don't know. We'll get into that in a little bit as well. Also, the altcoin markets have spilled off a little bit. So we'll get into that. We do have Forrest, which is well-versed in the charts, as well as Frankie Candles. So if there is some projects you want us to take a look at a little bit more analytical form, put that in the chat as well. We'll definitely like to highlight some of those. Now, if you have been watching the show all week, you know that we are having our Vegas party coming up on the 29th. So it's a co-hosted party between Sin City Crypto and also Cryptos R Us. George, another big YouTube channel. I'm sure all of you already know who that is. But we did give away, or George kindly gave away 10 tickets, or 10 winners, 2 tickets to visit the show. We drew this after the show yesterday, and then we announced the winners on Twitter. Now, just to kind of go over the names here, these are the winners: Charles F., Mike O., Kessie, Bill C., Wes P., Jonathan, Grant Dixie, Jaron, and Freddie. So to all of you, you should have received an email by now. And if you did not, just reach out to us, let us know. But you're going to get sent 2 tickets to visit us. We'll be having our party at the Mandalay Bay, the top floor, at the Foundation Room. And we're really excited to meet all of you. Come have a couple of drinks, some food as well. And have fun, have a little party, right? And so here at Sin City Crypto, we like to open up with a little bit of giggles, as David likes to call it. So Without further ado, let's see what's trending on Twitter and what we can make fun of here. So we got here. This is Rocco should be very familiar. My man here is making some pizza, and let's see. Let's watch this. So he's got the pizza, oven mitt, a little shaky. Oh. Pizza down, hand down, oven down. Oh man. He burned his back, flipped the pizza, and looks like a clown.
What kind of oven is that?
What kind of oven is that? That is definitely. This is one of those.
It's the micro fridge. Look at the fridge. It's small. It's too small.
So yeah. All right. So then next up, this one's interesting. So this is we don't condone drinking and driving here, obviously, but you got to think that times have changed, right? And that some people are like, I want my guns, I want my alcohol. Some people they beat the drum for what they feel is their God's given right. And it wasn't too long ago people thought their God's given right was to drink alcohol and drive. And so just to go down memory lane,
any attempt to restrict drinking and driving here is viewed by some as downright undemocratic.
It's kind of getting common is when a fella can't put in a hard day's work, put in 11, 12 hours a day, and then get in your truck and at least drink 1 or 2 beers.
They're making it laws where you can't drink when you want to. You have to wear a seatbelt when you're driving. And
baby.
Pretty soon we're going to be communist country.
Damn right, that's undemocratic. What are they going to do next? Tell me I can't have sex with my cousin?
Still, any attempt to restrict drinking and driving here is...
That last one had to be fake. There's no way that's real.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So, it's crazy how the norm changes. No, you're further, you're in the more the heart of the South. And I don't know where they filmed this at for us, but is this seem more common ideology that like, hey man, if I want to, are people more stubborn to government control over there in your neck of the woods?
Yeah, I mean it changes when you get into the city, but I grew up and went to high school in what I would refer to as like semi-rural Georgia, just like right, hour and a half, 2 hours outside of the city where it starts to get pretty sparse, lots of cows, lots of farms. And yeah, I mean, I grew up where what we just watched is probably a more extreme side of the norm, but there's certainly a lot of people still like that.
Yeah, but I do see a lot of parallels when it comes to like government control. I was on the fence on well, here's a hedgehog getting washed though. That's I got nothing else here, but it's just something. It's like a living loofah there. And then this one is I'll get to that in a minute. But here's talk about government control. I feel like this is what this is how I feel like I would react to the latest vaccine rounds here. So I'm just gonna play this. Just maybe vaccine hesitancy is at an all-time high. So, might have had one too many vaccines.
Я понял. Эй, зараза! Вот не упустил.
I don't even blame him.
So, yeah, I mean, we don't want to get political here, but, it does remind me of a co-host of mine, when he tried to take his barbecue chicken pizza away. And so I'll leave it at that. And then lastly, we have, this is from your friend Somi. They say, if crypto doesn't work out for me, I can always become a professional horse rider. And what is a professional horse rider? Well, this is real, by the way. So this is a competition on how to ride your horse stick thing. And there's technique and judges. And would you ever enroll your kids in No, you're not there yet. But would you ever enroll your kids into a horse riding competition of this style there?
Look, man, like to each their own, and I don't think they're hurting anybody. But there's a certain point where just it almost it just gets. I don't want to be mean here, but man, it gets weird. I would keep my kids far away from that. And look, I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings who's into this. Nothing against these people; they're not hurting anybody. But keep me away from this sport.
All right. Well, that's what I got there for the funnies. And I know we just to take a quick look over the markets. Now, today's market overview is brought to you by iTrust Capital. So if you're not familiar with iTrust Capital, they offer Roth IRAs. So that way you can get your Bitcoin allocation. You can DCA in your Bitcoin without paying taxes until upfront instead of at the end when you cash out with unrealized gains. So with that said, I do want to go over the markets, take a look. As we mentioned, Bitcoin is under 30,000 today, and so we have lost the 30K support, and so we haven't been under this range for very long. If you look at the last 24 hours, we dipped under yesterday right around this time as well, but we rebounded over 30K and now we're below it again. And so does this mean that 30K is off the table? Is the XRP euphoria over? Also, speaking of XRP, we've had some big shakeups in the market caps in the top 12 projects. So out of the top 12 here, there's been a lot of interesting movement. And so today's focus, we're going to talk about Cardano and Solana. Solana did briefly take over Cardano's position in the number 7 spot in market cap, but it is slipped to Cardano recently. So anyways, they're flip-flopping here. So today, after we get our guests on, we do want to discuss, what has a better potential for upside? What is something that you're looking for in the long term? Are you more of a fan of Cardano and Solana? Actually, let's get the chat's perspective, and then we can go into the analyst perspective afterwards. But what are you guys a little bit more bullish on today, moving forward? What's a long-term hold that you're looking for between the two, Cardano or Solana? Put that in the chat, ADA or SOL, and then we'll take a glance at that. Also, XRP flipped BNB as well. So 2 giant moves in the top 10 here. XRP now over $40 billion market cap. And then also Doge is slipping. Doge falling behind Cardano and Solana. And then you also got Polygon outside the top 10. Now Polygon and Tron are both pretty similar. So I do think that maybe we're one Polygon big partnership because, they have a giant partnership. I feel like it comes out every few weeks. So I feel like we're one partnership away from Polygon getting back into the top 10. And yeah, well, we'll go into that. And then also some of the biggest gainers for the week. You got Sui up 24 hours, up 8% on the 24 hours, up 15% on the week. XRP, just a reminder, up 60% on the week, up 5% today. And then some of the biggest pullbacks, you do have 1 inch down 15%, Compound down 9%, and Multiverse X down 4%. So a little pullback in what looks like the DeFi sector here. All right, so without further ado, I do want to bring on today's guest. We got Frankie Candles joining us. So whenever you're ready, Rocco, want to bring the man on? Hey!
What's going on, guys?
Oh, not much, man. I had plenty of my caffeine today. Some coffee, some soda. As you got the Calf Master over here today. So, so how you?
I got
doing,
you.
man?
I usually keep my caffeine at the bottom of my legs, but sometimes I do. This is how the calves get fueled. I will say, just straight old black coffee. You know what I'm saying?
There you go. Yeah, I had a cold brew today because it is a fresh 118 degrees in Las Vegas today. So.
Brutal.
Yeah, I can't do hot coffee right now, so it's definitely cold brew all the way around. But how you been, man? We haven't had you on in about this month, so it's been a few weeks. So anything new going on with you?
No, same old stuff. Just sitting on the charts, crushing the trades with our Discord, and yeah, we got some exciting price action finally. As we, obviously, if you guys have been watching the charts, been sitting in that sideways range for Bitcoin for quite some time. I think we're creeping up on a month here. Got a little bit of excitement with that XRP, and now we're starting to lose the range to the downside. So. I think the big question is here, are we going to get this, are we going to break this yearly high for Bitcoin? Are we going to come up to that 33, 34, maybe even 40 to 50K Bitcoin that a lot of people are talking about? Or are we going to come back down? So that's just kind of what we've been trying to figure out on the on the channel recently. And yeah, shout out to the XRP army.
Cool. I see you got a new background there as well. It looks pretty cool. And then we also
Thank
got
you.
Forrest
People
here.
are calling me a Sith Lord.
We also got Forrest joining us today. He's our special co-host today in place of David.
Love it.
And I think we're gonna permanently replace David with Forrest as well. Yeah. So today's I want to lead off today's discussion, and I'll start with you, Frankie, and then I'll lead it off to Forrest. But today's theme and thumbnail, if you peeped it out, was Cardano versus Solana, and what really spurs this discussion? Well, they're at similar spot in the coin market cap. They've been flipping each other in the last 24 hours, and both of them had a pretty big run up in the last bull market. Solana's a newer project. Cardano's been around for a little longer, but essentially did have a ton of price action in the last bull market, and both of them have been listed by the SEC as securities that are being traded on both the Coinbase platform and Binance platform. And so there's tons of similarities there. And, I feel like we're in a position in the market where myself personally, I think that the bottom has come in on Bitcoin at 16,000. So I think that we're in the gradual move up into the next bull market whenever that does come. And so for me, I think it's a good time to start identifying some altcoin plays, some top layer ones is where I'm eyeballing. So today's show is what's a little sexier to you? Is it the Cardano or is it the Solana? And so I'll leave it off to you, to Frankie. And I know you're more in the charts, obviously. So what's these charts looking like? What are those two tokens talking to you?
Yeah, so that's the big question, right? I get asked this all the time. Is Solana going to come back, or is Solana dead forever? And regardless of the ties to FTX and Alameda, I do think you have to understand that Solana still has good tech. They still have a lot of partnerships. And I personally am in the camp that I do not think Solana's dead. I do now, is it going to break its previous all-time high? That is probably a discussion for another day, but I don't think it's dead. And I do think it will pump in the next bull market. So I will go ahead and share a chart with you guys really quickly. So let me just pull that up real quick. So Solana, let me go ahead and pull that up here. And yeah, so I actually famously, or should I say, I actually should say infamously, let me pull it up on this chart here. I infamously DCA'd into Solana. Where is it? Let's see. Where is it? Let me clear this chart. I infamously, was DCAing in right before it basically went to zero. And then I wound up getting into a 3x pre-leveraged long position on Solana, basically at the bottom around $8, wrote it back up, made my losses back plus some profit. And now my Solana bag is just almost at break even. So yes, I am still going to accumulate a bit of Solana. I did get a little bit wrecked on here, but then kind of made it all back. But I will be DCAing a little bit into Solana. Now, again, I don't know if it's going to break its all-time high. I've been cautioning people. It's about that season where, a lot of creators are going to be like making price predictions, which is all fun. I do it too. But I think it's really important to really let the people know that any price prediction you look at, whether you're looking at someone that's going off of fundamentals and studying history, or looking at the charts and looking at all the technical signals, you have to understand that regardless of what everybody is looking at, any price prediction you see in a bear market or before a big parabolic bull run or even in a bull run, you have to understand that they are all speculative to some degree, right? This was a mistake that I had made a very long time ago, just listening to these crazy price predictions. And I think it's important that people understand what makes a coin go up, or, what gives a coin potential to hit a certain price as far as market cap, stuff like this. Tokenomics are very important. So I going into kind of the, like you said, kind of wrapping up the bear market here on our slow grind up, it's important for people to realize that all price predictions are very speculative. So I will say, I do think Solana will come back up. Obviously, it's all-time high up here at about 261. We could potentially get back up to those levels. And again, like, they have good tech, they have a lot of partnerships, and they have a phone, right? I saw somebody chatted, they have a phone, and they may name me another crypto that has its own phone, right? Or another blockchain. But taking a look at the chart, just strictly technical here, I will go ahead and I'll just do some kind of fresh TA here. So I'm on the daily chart, and obviously we bottomed out here at about $8. And I will say, guys, if this thing goes back to this thing was at $8. If this thing goes back to all-time highs, congratulations, anybody who bought Solana down here. But obviously no guarantees for that. But I will just go ahead and pull a little bit of volume here and just take a look at this kind of range that we've been forming. I'm actually going to pull it all the way back to here. And just kind of analyze what we have going on here. So, Solana was kind of finding balance up here, and then obviously the FTX, whole debacle created this massive dump, and now we are back inside of this range, which would be somewhat, decently bullish in my opinion. And you can actually see that we're starting to potentially break out of this value area. And, a lot of times when price leaves a value area, and by value area, all I'm referring to is the range that we have here between the high and the low of the range. So this is one value area. You could find, these all over the place. You can look at this as a separate value area up here. Roughly. I know that line was a little bit sloppy, but there you go, right? So you have a value area up here, you find imbalance, price comes down, and then eventually seeks out to find balance again, which we have within this value area. And, we have actually, the reason I bring this up is because this is how I look at the markets, right? Because you're going to, be balanced down here. You could consider this the fair price, quote, air quotes, fair price for Solana. And even if I pull it back to more of this local range, which will be a little bit tighter, as you can see, this has basically been the fair price for Solana, all the way back since January, right? We just kind of been bing-bonging around in this box, left it, came back in, and now we are potentially trying to leave it. And the reason I show these two value areas is because you can actually try to figure out where Solana's next stop is going to be by looking at the previous areas of balance, right? Just these other previous ranges. So this level right here, just automatically, in my eyes, is going to be a key level of resistance for Solana because not only do previous value area lows act as support, but they can also give you context into what will happen next, right? Because when you're using volume profiles, once you're able to gain support above a range low, it is more often, if you hold support up here, that you will eventually get a move up to the point of control or a move back up to the value area high, or simply just the high of the range. So we could hypothesize here that once we break out here, we rejected off of that value area low, which is to be expected. And then we came back down to test this value area high as support, which we are currently starting to lose. But if Solana is able to get back above this value area high and make a run for this value area low and get above this level, this would be a key level to flip, because once you hold this level as support, I would be looking up towards about $32, which we almost hit, on this little push to the upside. But once you get over that POC, I would be looking for a run up, potentially all the way back up to the highs of the range at about $43. But we got to get above this value area low. And as of right now, in the same way that I just used the value area to try to predict where Solana could go to the upside, we could figure out where it could go to the downside in the same way. If we lose this value area high decisively, as we are right now, if you guys start getting 4-hour candle closes or daily candle closes below this value area high, I would expect Solana to potentially get stuck back in this range and then head back down towards this point of control, sitting at about $20.64. As far as the indicators,
I'm not dug into the charts and in the same way that you guys are. So for me, I always look at, and I'm looking at your chart there, area of control or support, being that's $20. So for me, I'm like, hey, if I'm going to make a move on Solana, I'm probably going to wait for the $20 to come into play. Obviously, I would, if I was putting in some buy orders, I'd probably put it at $20 and some change. But I think, and then your other point of control there you were highlighting seems like the $30 mark. So for myself personally, I'm thinking of like these big psychological numbers, and so $20, $30. You think we're gonna get back to the point of control? Or you think we're gonna pull back down to the $20 mark? I know that's kind of where it seemed like you were leaning.
Mhm.
What
Yeah.
what do you think?
Yeah, so I definitely think it is possible. And here's another reason why. A lot of times when you get moves up like this, like a big pump, if you pull your fib from the low of that move all the way to the high, a lot of times price will pull back to that 618 golden pocket or that 786 fib level, which is down here closer to about $16. Now, I don't know if we're going to make it all the way back down to $16. However, a lot of times you will see price pump, and then on that healthy correction or healthy retracement, you will go for that golden pocket. And then that is likely where you will put in a higher low and then continue back to the upside. So if we were going to get a correction, it would make a lot of sense that if you get stuck below this value area high, that you would go for that point of control, not just based on the volume profiles, but now that you have this local golden pocket there as well, it makes it an even bigger point of interest for me. But to try to figure out if we will get down there or not, you can basically look at the high of this range at about $26 and look for 4-hour candle closes or even daily candle closes below that level. And if you close those candles below that level, it becomes increasingly more likely that price will get magnetized down to that point of control. But if we did get down here, that is definitely a dip buy for me on Solana for sure. And just looking at the indicators as well, you can see you have a 2-day red dot here, which would indicate a potential cool off incoming. And money flow is coming up. So that is bullish in the long term. So again, I think it would be likely if you do cool off, which is possible because of that 2-day red dot, that you could get that move down to that golden pocket. And once that winds up happening, you might get this red dot to kind of play out. And then at that point, you might be ready for another green dot. And then that's where you put in that higher low and then try to attack that upper range again, shooting for that $40 mark.
All right. And then if we could, I wanted to pass the baton there to Forrest. And I know you're a pretty big Solana ecosystem fan. You know, I know you dabble in the NFT sector there. What are the charts telling you, Forrest, when it comes to Solana? Do you think that maybe this is still a really good buy position? What are the charts telling you?
Yeah, do you want me to jump into a Solana chart here as well?
Yeah. Yeah, and then after you do the Solana chart, we'll get into the Cardano and then kind of see what might look like a your favorite of the two projects afterward.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a couple of things that I'm looking at, and it's funny how me and Frankie are driving some really similar ranges and really similar numbers off of different methodologies. It's always nice to see confluence between multiple things. I think he absolutely crushed it. We're going off a lot of similar ranges and numbers. So I'm looking at margin pressure levels, and that's just simply isolating for leverage traders incentives in the market. So what that means is, as Solana crashed and it's recovering, where can the market start stepping in to shorts on 2x leverage while maintaining their liquidation point above this pre-FTX high? And that's roughly where we're at right now, 25.60 or so. And off of the flip side, right off of our most recent swing low down to $12 and change, $12.80, where can they start stepping into longs on 2x leverage, right? This is our 2x long level, while maintaining a liquidation point below this swing low. And that's, again, confluent with our 25.60 level. So we are going to, on the daily here, we are going to hold this range, and this is a very, very similar range to the volume profile that Frankie brought up. I've got it between 1920 and 1940. I think he had it just under $20, right, around 19 and change, and then this 25 to 26 level, this prior structural range as well. Very similar ranges here. The way I'm looking to trade this is quite simple. So let me actually mark these out because they'll change a little bit when I zoom into a lower time frame chart, right? We just mark out this range here. We'll get rid of our margin pressure levels because that's all we needed them for. We'll zoom into, let's call it the 4 hour. And what we've got is a nice little short-term trend line up. It's a pretty aggressive trend line, and I do believe that it's a trend line worth considering bidding, because while we have re-entered this range here, we may find some support in this trend line. Could very well be what helps boost us back up. Right. So if we find support on this trend line, we recover this level, then that's the scenario where that we can run back up to 30, 32 or retest the top of that prior range Frankie was talking about around $42. That's your bullish scenario. But this trend line also gives us a really clean break and a really clean way to trade this to the downside and look for a short. So if we hold this range and we fail to get back up above 25.60 and then we just break this trend line, that's where we're looking to short this back down to I hesitate to say short it down to $19, $20 because we do have some like midpoints down here that I'd probably target with a shorter term scalp because again the trend is still generally upwards, so we want to be careful about how I like to trade with the trend. So I'm looking for longs here off of dips. So if you're looking to short this, you're kind of trading against the most recent trend here. So you just want to be careful and more conservative with your targets, in my opinion, your take profit targets. But yeah, I think $19 is a buy. 25.60 is a really key. I call them SR levels, support resistance levels. This is what we're just contending this. We've lost it. We're trying to we're retesting it right now. If we can break back up above it, do something like that, then that's bullish. Otherwise, if we put in something like this, we're looking to go take a short off of the resistance of this downtrend line, trade down to 22 and change, right? Your prior resistance there. Turning that into potential support is also going to be your midpoint. It's also going to be the bottom of your range down there at $19, $20. I do want to bring, I know you brought up Cardano. I won't spend long on this chart at all. It's just a really similar setup where you've got Cardano here, on a really similar trend line, and it's coming back down to its midpoint. So from its swing low, to its local high, its midpoint is around 30 cents, which is structurally really, really clean resistance that we ended up breaking. I actually took a long at just above 30 cents. So that's, we'll see if that comes back down or not. It's our midpoint. It's really, really close to our trend line. So I actually think Cardano here on some support is a decent bid, and it's just one of those things that you can cut really quickly if we fail this trend line and we start holding this midpoint of 30 cents as resistance. Just get out of it, look to buy back at 25 cents or something. But just wanted to bring that up because it's Cardano and Solana, like you said, they're flipping each other back and forth, and they have decently similar setups here.
All right. And then real quick, I just want to give a little intermission to the chat. We started off by asking the chat, what are you guys more fans of? And the community has spoken, and they got a lot more Cardano homers here in the chat. So I'll give my Solana people here one last chance. If you're a fan of Solana, put a 1 in the chat. I want to know how many ones we got going on here. Now, before we pivot the conversation over to Solana, I do want to brush on what is happening outside of the charts with these two projects. As we alluded to before we got into the charts, is that we have the SEC actively targeting both Solana and Cardano's tokens and labeling them securities in both the lawsuits against Coinbase and Binance. And the recent judge ruling with the XRP case, where they discussed XRP being a digital asset, not a security, and more or less, hey, you're going to break securities laws in the ways that you sell them. So through retail sales, they've said, or the judges said that through retail sales, through the sale of an exchange, for an example, that the XRP token is not a security, and that, hey, you're just buying and selling digital assets. Now, where the securities laws comes into play is when you sell to institutions that are just simply buying the tokens as more of an investment contract. And so those transactions particularly have been signaled as, hey, those might be illegal sales. Now, what comes to mind for myself personally is who has the most venture capital sales out there? Who launched their ICO between these two projects here, especially between Cardano and Solana? Well, Solana has raised a ton of capital. They're known as the VC coin. And with Solana being already in the crosshairs of the SEC, I feel like they have more to lose, or they're at more risk of further litigation from the SEC because of the simple fact of how they sold their tokens. Now, Cardano is not 100% free. They didn't have 100% fair launch, but their Solana's launch happened more in the United States, and while Cardano was international, and there was a lot heavier selling of the token through ICO through the retail sector. So definitely not as much venture capital money coming into Cardano. So something to keep in mind there. Myself personally, I do think that there's more potential for upside with Solana. But with that said, I think that Cardano having a longer track record out there, being that it's been out since 2017, or 2016 through 2017 is when it had its first run up. I think that I am more leaning towards Cardano, and I'll send it over to you, Frankie, and get your thoughts on Cardano. I know you touched on the Solana chart. Is there anything that stands out to you? Do you think they're pretty neck and neck? And then after you go through the Solana chart, I want to know, what do you think is a better pickup? If you had to put one buy order today, what do you think is going to outperform one another into the next bull market? I don't know if you do the whole price predictions, but what side do you lean on here when it comes between Cardano and Solana if you were to buy now and hold to the next bull market?
Yeah, for sure. First off, I do want to say, I say this almost every time I'm on with another analyst. I think this is what I love about technical analysis. And, Forrest was looking at such similar levels as me, looking at completely different stuff. Like could it be more opposite way to get to those conclusions? And the fact that again, I think he mentioned it as well. It's good to see other analysts. I like to see confluence when other analysts are looking at the same thing I'm looking at, especially if they're looking at something else. Kind of just puts a little bit more weight. Okay, these are some legitimate things. Other analysts that are looking at stuff that I don't look at are seeing it the same thing. I just always comment on that because it's always so funny. Every time I go on with other analysts, it's hey, I got a similar level, but I got to it a completely different way. And this is what I love about TA. So I just kind of wanted to point that out. But real quick, I will go ahead and pull up the Cardano chart. And this is Bitcoin. Let's go ahead and pull up Cardano. And so here's the thing. I'll kind of go over the chart for Cardano, and then I'll kind of give you my my expectations for both of them and kind of which one I would lean towards. But looking here on the 4-hour chart, we're in a very, very, like Forrest was saying, a very similar situation as Solana. We have a lot of things that are kind of just grinding up like this, and we're trying to reclaim these really, really important levels. We have reclaimed the golden pocket here, at least from, when you pull your fib from the low to the high. We could potentially, here's the thing, we're finding support on this daily level, which would be a good sign. And kind of, again, one of the biggest things I look at is volume profile. And obviously, again, we had a fair price for Cardano up here in this area of balance, give or take some of these deviations. But for the most part, it was considered to be a fair price between about 30 cents and maxing out at about 40 cents, with the exception of the deviation to about 46 cents. And then obviously we found some crazy imbalance here, got a big nuke to the floor, and then we crept up here. We reclaimed this daily level here, which or we are trying to reclaim this daily level here currently, but look what happened right here. And this is why I like the volume profiles so much, because when you look at a volume profile like this and you have a prior range, again, an area where the asset has found balance in the past, a lot of times when you leave that range to the upside or the downside, a lot of times you will see price approach that value area. And what happened here was we got above that value area low, and just like we would expect, price held support on that value area low, or was able to get back above this level, and we shot right for that point of control. And a lot of times price will get back into that previous range, test that point of control, and then reject to come in and put in a lower low. However, I am not really expecting a lower low to come in here for Cardano. I'll be 100% honest with you. But I just wanted to show how these volume profile levels are respected and how it can actually help you see into the market and kind of give you x-ray vision into where price is likely to go, after you break a specific level. So, once we get above this, and this is going to remain an extremely important level because, again, once we got above this, we went right for the POC. And then obviously, nothing, this was a pretty big pump, right? Nothing goes up in a straight line forever. And you are coming down for this, you are coming down for a nice little retracement here. And I know Forrest was mentioning we were about at the 50% mark, which is a pretty healthy correction. And on top of that, you could see a lot of times you'll hear analysts say that they're expecting price to go revisit the scene of the crime. And basically what they're saying by that is looking for price likes to a lot of the time go back and retest those breakout zones or those areas where price broke out from as support before continuing higher. And you could see clearly we were kind of, stuck below this range and then finally broke out. So we could be testing that range right now, which also happens to be a daily level. And if we could hold support above this level at about 30 cents, that would be bullish in my opinion. And when we do come back up, the key level of resistance that you really want to flip to support is going to be this value area low at about 34 cents, 34 and a half cents. And again, due to the volume profiles, once you flip this level to support, you now have that next level to expect price to go to, which is going to be that 37, almost 38 cent mark. And then once you get above that level, you would expect to come back up to the high of the range here at about 40 cents, almost 41 cents. So, and then just looking at the indicators, I'll be honest, what I've been doing on my channel a lot is zooming out. And a lot of people are feeling like they've missed the boat on a lot of coins. And I keep telling people, like, guys, zoom out. I know the XRP pump was super, super exciting, but zoom out. Like Cardano is still at this moment in time, right? Still about 90% discounted from the all-time high in 2021. So I try to tell people not to get caught up, trying to, a lot of people will be like, I'm not buying here. I'm going to wait till we come back down. And it's like, at the end of the day, if Cardano is going to break its all-time high and come all the way up to, X price, you're not going to care if you bought in at this bottom or in the middle or up here or down here. You're just going to look back when you're up here and be like, wow, I bought the bottom. But as far as which coin I would pick to stack my bag, I'll say this, right? Cardano obviously is a very, very, very strong project. It's got good tech. And, everybody loves Solana. They have a really, really strong community, which is another really, really important thing. So, and Solana is the same thing, right? They have good tech. They have a lot of partnerships. Like I think they have partnerships with Audius. I think they're just recently partnered with Google Cloud. So they have some pretty big partnerships. And I will say, if I had to pick one, I would probably pick Cardano for this one reason. And I usually am I feel like I'm usually the only guy yelling, I'm accumulating Solana. Like when I was buying Solana, people were like, you're an idiot. It's dead. FTX. Are you stupid? And I'm like, guys, that doesn't completely it's not like Cardano. It's not like Solana was the problem there, right? Like it's still good tech and, everything, they have a good community as well. But I would probably lean on Cardano for the simple fact that, it's really hard to say, right? Because they call Solana the VC coin, right? So that's probably going to help it out in the bull run a little bit. But I would pick Cardano for this reason, because I think when it comes to retail, I don't know if everyone's savvy enough to understand the involvement of Solana with the whole Alameda FTX situation. And I think that may put a little bit of damage on their name for retail investors. And a new retail investor, when those blow off tops come in the bull market, I think the retail is going to be like, I don't know if I'm buying that one. Isn't that the one that was related to FT? They're just going to see it as a connection from between FTX and Alameda. So for that reason, I'm going to go with Cardano as not only a maybe slightly safer option, but also I do think Cardano is very likely to break its all-time high.
I do think that the longevity, or that Cardano's been in the market a little longer. I think when it comes to a safety play, something for me, if I'm going to go into an altcoin, that do weigh that pretty heavily. But also, Solana is pretty far off his all-time high. We make the same argument about Cardano. Forrest, if you had to put in a buy and you're holding this thing for 2 years to the next hypothetical bull market, what's looking good for you? What side are you leaning there, brother?
Yeah, I'm personally leaning towards Solana, but I don't disagree with Cardano. I think that both are going to be solid buys going into the next bull market. I do think that Solana does have additional risks that Cardano does not face. But me personally, just I use Solana literally every single day. I'm in the NFT space, the DeFi space. It's like I'm really comfortable with the wallets. I'm really comfortable with the ecosystem. So it's kind of at this point just like, look, if you're an Apple user, like a Mac user or a Windows user, and if you've been like whatever you've been using for like the last year or 2 years or your entire life, you just kind of get used to. And I do think that ultimately, at the end of the day, for the end user experience or for what they're trying to accomplish, I think they're more alike than they are different. At the end of the day, they're both layer ones, they're alternative layer ones to Ethereum, right? I think people get caught up in these minute details of like, and I say minute. To some people, certain differences are a really, really big deal. But I'm not talking about like blockchain nerds like us. Like, yeah, Solana goes down. Yeah, Solana may be considered less decentralized. Cardano may be more decentralized. Solana took on VC investment. But like to the average end user, like that is not even into crypto right now, I don't know that a lot of that stuff is going to matter in the future. And if you look at like the market cap, if you look at the top 10 cryptocurrencies right now, it's basically Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then you have BNB, which look, BNB, I don't want to get into like Binance Smart Chain, but I just don't look, I'm not super bullish on Binance Smart Chain as a major L1 in the long term. Obviously BNB is tied to the Binance exchange, which is getting a ton of FUD right now. But after that, in terms of layer one, like you've got XRP, which I don't view, that's like a payment processing solution, kind of like Banker's Coin. I don't necessarily view that as like a major L1. The two neck and neck L1s after that are Cardano and Solana. Both are 90% off their all-time high. Both are at similar fully diluted valuation or market caps rather, flipping each other back and forth. I don't think that you can go wrong with either one. I think Cardano is going to probably scream again in the bull market. It is one of the best bull market, best performing coins of the last two bull markets, period, especially for a large cap. If you look at the relative strength, right, you look at what chains are performing, what coins are performing right now in a bear market, yes, both are 90% down. But if you look at their ability or their performance against the rest of the market, both are still in the top 10 by market cap, despite everything that they've been through. So I don't think you can go wrong with either one. Personally, my preference and where I'm spending a lot of my time and resources and where I'm making bets based off of the projects that I'm seeing come online and build on Solana is Solana. But I don't think you can go wrong with either one. I think both are going to perform pretty well.
Awesome. Thanks for that. I do want to say that, Frankie, your community has showed up in droves and has been beating the drum and putting all the candle emojis in the chat. So we do give a little shout out to all of our new people. So if you are new here, say hello so we can drop an hola back at you. Just a little quick shout out. We got Zocor, Crypto Curry, Mr. Blake, V Slim, David, Eric, Ricky, Jism. We got TFP, Jack OC, D's, Ziza, Long Mountain Benny, Peter Mac, Jeremy, Jay, Old Stool, DJ Flexa, EF, to all of you. Hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. Also, we got Jimmy dropping in 20 gifted memberships. Redman dropping 10 gifted memberships. Crypto Billy also gave a $1.99 super chat, said he loves you, Frank. And then we also had Kay drop a $5 super chat on how BTC transactions will be verified. We'll brush up on that in a minute. But Frankie, that's going to wrap it up for our time here with you. So always an amazing time having you on. We always appreciate the insight. We love having you on regularity, so we'd love to have you on in the future. And is there anything you wanted to leave our community with, or anything any parting words you wanted to sign us off with?
No, I check us out on the Frankie Candles YouTube channel. I go live every single weekday at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much for having me on. I love coming on this show. It's one of my favorite shows to come on. And shout out to Forrest. And I do just want to say, I think Forrest just brought up a really good point. And I think what that point is that he separated the like the crypto nerds from the regular retail that is likely going to be a majority of the the blow off top money that comes in the bull run. And I encourage people to try to see the difference between this, because a lot of the crypto nerds will try to see the difference between like a slightly different transaction throughput between blockchains, but you have to understand when this retail money comes in, a lot of them are not even going to know about that. So I like that he separated that. But yeah, other than that, guys, that's all I got. Thanks so much for having me on. Again, I love coming on this show. It's always a blast. And I got to get you guys on my show soon too, again.
Absolutely, man. I'd love to get him on. All right, well, thanks again, and we'll have you on soon. And just send me a message, because I know you had David on your show. You might as well get the other half of the team on there as well. So
that's right.
All right, well, thank you again. Take care.
Take it easy.
See you, man.
All right. So, man, that segment, the Cardano and the David is always the guy that kind of drives the ship and decides how long we're going to talk about. You know what? That conversation was so good. I could not cut that thing short. And so big, two of my favorite projects. So good to hear you guys' perspective. Another one of my favorite projects, and something that we talk about regularly, is Chainlink. And so we had something go live today on Chainlink, and it's here, I'm just going to pull up my laptop, and then we can kind of talk about that here. We have Chainlink launches cross-chain interoperability protocol on Ethereum, Optimism, Polygon, Avalanche as well. Now, all of these chains are EVM compatible, or that fall within the Ethereum ecosystem. So not surprised that all of these are lumped together, but Chainlink, the number one Oracle service out there, the one that most of us are familiar with, you have Chainlink, the leading Web3 service platform, announces the launch of cross-chain interoperability, or they dub CCIP, on Ethereum's mainnet. Now, you have the protocol, which is designed to facilitate the cross-chain application services, is being adopted by major DeFi protocols such as Synthetic. So anything that touches the Ethereum ecosystem is now going to be using this cross-chain development from Chainlink and all of their Oracle services. Now, Sergey Nazarov, was the founder of Chainlink, stated that the CCIP offers a platform for building applications that can operate securely across any blockchain. And so he's touting that the CCIP is not only going to work on the Ethereum network, but pretty much with any blockchain. And as of right now, with the launch of this, which came out today, this is going live on the EVM chains. Now, Synthetics, a DeFi protocol that provides liquidity on chain. Now, this offers derivatives and financial instruments integrated with Chainlink CCIP in its Synthetics teleporter feature. This feature allows users to transfer Synthetics liquidity between chains by burning SUSD on the source chain and minting it on the designated chain. Now, we're going to also jump into another Ethereum project that this ties into. It's Aave. So you're getting all kinds of different DeFi functionality here on the Ethereum network, which not only did Sergey Nazarov say that, hey, we're launching this on ETH, but this is going to go for all blockchains. So I think this is going to be something that's going to expand. Now here, Aave, the leading protocol, is also integrating Chainlink CCIP into the system through BGD Labs, a Web3 development initiative. This integration will allow Aave to launch itself onto more chains and conduct key operations like governance through a highly secure solution. Chainlink stated, in addition, that to its adoption with the leading DeFi platforms, that the CCIP is also being used by Swift and over a dozen financial institutions and financial infrastructure providers for message and token transfers across public and private chains. There is so much to unpack with this CCIP, and so let's just review here what we got. You have the CCIP. not only, so you have Chainlink, the leading Oracle provider, offering their services and bridging a lot of these chains together. You have Ethereum, Optimism, Polygon as the layer ones. And then you have all of their big heavy hitter DeFi plays, Aave, Synthetics. And so the list goes on. And then just to throw a cherry on top, well, you got also traditional finance playing a role and the SWIFT system using Chainlink. And doesn't stop there. Also, on another article, you had $10 million worth of Link transferred to Binance while supporting Chainlink from Bank of America. Let's dive into this. So, Bank of America has said that in its latest reports that the Oracle network will play a very important role in tokenization. Bank of America examined how Chainlink could play an important role in the tokenization of traditional financial assets, which is in demand, as it facilitates fast transfers of funds and data between different blockchain platforms. This is a press release from Bank of America right at the same time that they're launching, probably all in reference to their CCIP. Now, that's a lot, man. And so if you're a fan of Chainlink, I mean, I don't really understand how this could be any more bullish, right? You have the king layer one of smart contracts, Ethereum, and all of the EVM-based chains that are now plugging into cross-compatibility and leveraging the security and the Oracle services of Chainlink, also Bank of America, also the SWIFT system, and then they loosely announced 12 different large financial players outside of our crypto sector and traditional finance utilizing Chainlink. And I'm going to take all of this and just lay it on your desk for us. What do you think of all of this news? I haven't heard you talk about Chainlink much in my personal conversations with you. Are you a fan of Chainlink? Obviously, they're the biggest in the Oracle space. Well, what is all this? What's all this mean for you?
Yeah. So out of everything you just said, in my opinion, those, as bullish as those things are, and as bullish as this entire CCIP thing is, it's actually not even the most bullish thing about Chainlink. If you stake Chainlink as part of their build program, you're actually going to be earning tokens that onboard through their build program. So basically, any projects that come in and they want to use Chainlink services and integrate with Chainlink will take like 5% of their token allocation, right? So let's say a new project launches as they're launching, they launch a token, they give 5% of that token allocation to Chainlink, who then goes and distributes it to their stakers, right? If you stake Chainlink, you'll be earning these tokens. And as the project builds on and on, the tokens get distributed to you. So you actually have a source of yield or a source of income through staking Chainlink. So add that on to everything else that you just said that's super bullish about Chainlink. And I think it performs really well this next bull market. I do think that a lot of people have been fudding it for a while because essentially the Chainlink Foundation, or Sergey Nazarov, the founder, and the Chainlink Treasury, they've had to sell off large amounts of Chainlink to make sure that they have runway secured for the next several years. But they do have that runway secured. My brother actually used to work at Chainlink. He said they had 2 to 3 years of runway secured. And yeah, they, occasionally, just like the Ethereum Foundation, will sell some Ethereum tokens to make sure that they have runway to operate. Chainlink's been doing the same thing, and that's been a large source of FUD in this bear market. But as we roll into a bull market, you're going to see a lot of demand pour into Chainlink for a ton of different reasons that you just outlined. I mean, ultimately, we also see, like, you think about how big of a narrative into cross-chain interoperability was last market cycle, and you had Cosmos and Polkadot fetching massive valuations and seeing huge speculation. Chainlink is now moving into that space of cross-chain interoperability in the EVM ecosystem, and now making it possible to bridge assets and Oracle prices across networks securely. So, very, very bullish on Chainlink. It's among my top-rated assets in the crypto ecosystem. So yeah, super bullish.
Yeah, you know, the cross chain compatibility is something that we've heard over and over again, but it's so rarely done well. And when I say well, I mean, well, you didn't lose money. And we've heard no shortage of this bridge hack and that bridge hack. So we've gotten accustomed to the advertisement of, hey, we can communicate with one another, and you know, the old ways of just simply wrapping a token. I think those are dead. And I think what's going to shine front and center in the next bull market is going to be true compatibility between one chain and another. And so that way you can just move value and from your favorite projects. Because in the days of moving it to an exchange, selling a token, and then buying the native token on another chain just to facilitate your DeFi to move it, like that's not realistically practical. I mean, if you're a degen, that's something you want to do. Sure, you'll jump through those hoops. 99% of us, we want simplicity, but we also want the security that comes with it. Now, speaking of security that comes with it, well, Coinbase comes with securities, and so the SEC deems that. Now, to shine a light on this, we have the next article, the next talking point is that the court says the SEC should have informed Coinbase that their exchange was violating securities law prior to public listing. So a New York federal judge says that the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, could have given Coinbase the heads up and that it's violating securities laws before approving its application to go public. So earlier last year, you had was it last year or this year? I think it was last year. Not exactly sure the time frame, but more recently you had Coinbase going public, and in their filings they should have been given the heads up, or at least the judge says they should have been given the heads up, and hey, you're selling illegal securities. Now, to expand on this, during the pretrial conference, the SEC counsel Peter M. says that the agency's approval of Coinbase's S1 application to conduct its initial public offering does not mean that the commissioner ever gave its stamp of approval to the crypto exchange's entire business. So you have the lawyer for the SEC saying, hey, we just approved the S1 for them to go public. That doesn't mean that we're looking at the inner workings of their company to make sure that everything is 100% buttoned up. We're just making sure that they're going through the checklist to be publicly traded. Now, to expand on this, so just to say that again, or in his words, simply because the SEC allows a company to go public does not mean the SEC is giving its blessing an underlying business. Now, the judge did not agree with that. Now, the judge here quoted, I'm not saying that the commission should be omniscient at the time of its evaluating a registration statement and that it should know all things, but I would have thought that the commissioner would do due diligence into Coinbase in what their inner workings were. Now, this is they're saying if you're going to violate securities law, or we are kind of in some interesting uncharted territory here. We're just talking about what digital assets represent in the securities law, because this is something this is new technology. So he's saying that, yeah, it's uncharted territory, but they should have been forewarned that someday this could be a problem and you're trading unregistered securities. And, you know, the judge also says that it does make sense for Coinbase to assume that it was in the clear, considering that the crypto exchange received no warning from the SEC prior to its IPO. The SEC looked at Coinbase's business. Now, they're not required to understand all the inner workings of the business, but they do look it over. And if you see that you're trading securities illegally, it should be something that's brought up. That's simply what the judge is saying here. And do you think that this article plus the XRP situation? So the XRP court case, that judge has said that the XRP token is not a security. It's a digital asset. Now, he didn't go as far as saying digital asset, but we can get to that point. He didn't say it was a commodity. He just said, hey, it is what it is. It's a token, and it's more about how you sell the token that determines if you're breaking securities law. So if you're selling it to retail or you're selling it to an exchange and they're turning around selling it, the people are can speculate, they can make money off of it, or they can use it for utility in the way that it's designed. Now that basically puts that whole argument that the SEC has against Binance and Coinbase out the window. They got no leg to stand on. So now you have two judges that are coming out. One judge saying, hey, well, if you thought they were breaking securities law, you should have said something when you filed an IPO. And then earlier this week, you have another judge saying, hey, crypto assets are exactly that. And it's how you sell them that makes them a security. And exchanges, have at it, sell it. Is there any way Coinbase loses this court case? Forrest, do you think there's any way that there's some kind of culpability for a legal security sale with Coinbase? At this point, I think there's none.
Look, I mean, that's what we've been kind of saying for the longest time. Like, everybody, when they came out against Coinbase, everyone was like, you couldn't have said something when they IPO'd. Like, I get from a strictly legality perspective, technically, they're not giving the stamp of approval on the rest of their business when they clear somebody for IPO. I get that, but it's refreshing to have a common sense judge that's kind of like, thinking along the lines as the rest of us and saying, hey, look, I'll give you probably what's not a very good analogy. It's like if your kids come up to you and they say, hey, Dad, can we go to the pool? You say, yeah, sure, you can go to the pool. And then you go get mad at them for swimming in the pool because I said you could go to the pool. I didn't say you could get in the water, right? That's like, not necessarily the best analogy, but it's like, oh, we said you could IPO, but we didn't say that you could sell, Ethereum, even though that's what your business was when you tried to IPO. We didn't say that you could sell Bitcoin and Solana and Cardano. Like, it's just, come on. Like, this is what the rest of the world has been saying. This is why we've been saying that Gary Gensler's out of his mind. And it's why there's a proposal to remove him I believe in the Senate and in Congress. So look, I don't know. From the XRP decision, it does seem like that was putting a lot of exchanges in the clear, for just simply facilitating the transfer and then the exchange of these assets. Because that does not make them necessarily securities. So, I think this is really positive. I think where there's more trouble for exchanges, and I'm not saying Coinbase. I think Coinbase, as far as an exchange goes, as far as like commingling funds and stuff like that, I think they're probably about as squeaky clean as you can get. They're really, really well audited. They're a publicly traded company. They're super compliant. I think where, exchanges could still get in trouble is, with, the fraud, commingling of funds, the stuff that they're going after Binance for. To me, that's the bigger bear catalyst. That's the bigger unknown. That's the bigger risk to the overall market is Binance right now, more so than Coinbase from a legality perspective. I think personally from, everything you just mentioned in these two cases, it's like Coinbase really seems like they're in the clear. I don't want to speak too soon. You never know what happens. But it's looking pretty solid for Coinbase, and its stock price is obviously reflective of that. The thing shot over $100, and I don't know where it's at today, but the stock's been ripping.
Yeah, it was down to $60 a week ago, up over 100. And so in the stock market world, I mean, that's damn near 2x. Outperformed freaking XRP, So I think that just goes to explain how much in the clear Coinbase is. You look no further than their stock price. I think what leg does the SEC have to stand on at this point? The only thing that they could realistically go after Coinbase would be with their staking, and then they're breaking securities laws by offering yield-bearing products, and that needs to be registered and the services for securities and yield-bearing products. So I don't know. I'm not a securities lawyers. I can't give you more details on that. But that's one thing that they're getting charged with that kind of doesn't fall into the token. But the whole bread and butter to this argument is that they're selling illegal securities, and they go by and they listed, I think, 10 or 12 different tokens on the platform. And it comes to a realization that if the tokens have realistic utility, and as long as the tokens weren't 100% sold to venture capital as a form of investment, you're pretty much in the clear. Now, what does that mean in the clear? Maybe you pay a fine for your sale of the token to institutions and maybe call it a day, but the underlying asset itself is exactly that. It's a digital asset. And so I feel very confident that Coinbase will see no legal issues other than perhaps a settlement or fine for maybe the staking services. And even with Ripple Labs, maybe they'll just pay a fine for how they release their token through the ICO sale to venture capital. Other than that, I think that this is a win for crypto. I think that's why we saw such a big run up in some of these asset prices. All right. So I think that is going to wrap it up. But first, I do want to give a shout out to some of the new people here in the chat. We have Ante the Great, Annie the Great, Brewski, Shurkan, Alex C, Darren Does, Joe M, Mr. Blake, N 1986, Brian Baca, somebody with a bunch of Russian characters. We'll just leave it at that. So to all of you, hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. All right. And I think that'll do it for today's show. So I do want to give a special thank you to Forrest. We always love having you on. At some point you got to come out here and hang out with us in Las Vegas. But until then, we would always appreciate having you join the show and co-host with us. Any parting words you want to leave our viewers with?
No, I mean, as usual, I genuinely appreciate you guys having me on as a regular co-host. It's a very special show you guys have going on here. It's awesome to be a part of it. I'm super bullish on Sin City Crypto going into the rest of the year and into the next bull market. Yeah, thanks so much for having me on. I'll be here the rest of the week, and I'm looking forward to it. We're going to have a lot of fun.
That's right, man. All right, and then I also do want to give one last shout out to channel sponsor Cam's Blue Wire Tech. So we have had no shortage of IT issues when it comes to our networking, and they've been on the phone helping us out through all of those sticky situations. Also, they do offer internet security as well, as they expanded their offerings. Now, want to say farewell to all of you, and I don't really know what we do, a finger tornado, or what do we normally do here for the signing out? What is Dave's normal thing? He says something about like buy merch. You do got the In and Out crypto. You see it on the hat there. And then we do a finger spin thing. The finger spin? It's what's funny is that anytime there's guests in the studio, he looks over at him and he's so giddy and happy. He's like, here comes my finishing move, bro. And I'm like, bro, nobody cares. That thing is stupid, man. Like, come up with something better, bro. All right, Rocco, thank you. All right, guys. Friends, family of friends, whatever he says. Till next time.
Sin City Crypto, everybody know we here for entertainment and info. Gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in for big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David. I split the game, but they gave it. Name the coin that's your favorite. I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners. Special shout out to the well members. Buy a dip, sell winners. Ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors. They gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin. And sinners gon' play to win. Screaming hola till my bags are flowing over. Hold ya to the moon and to the solar. Won't I? Don't be letting FOMO control ya. It's over when the finger tornado close ya.